Namaste, I'm Shubhi Mathur, and I welcome you all to yet another episode of the Break the Bias series of Let Us Talk. As mentioned earlier, the aim of this series is to make you think, rethink the biases which have been prevailing in our society, how our mind is conditioned to perceive things in a certain set pattern. While doing this series, I realized that biases exist. They are everywhere. And the worst ones are those which are within us and which we don't even realize. We are so conditioned. So we have set our mind in such a specific manner that we don't even realize that we are biased towards a certain thing. In our last two episodes, we spoke about biases where we needed to change our mindset and needed to change our conditioning. In today's interactive session also, we will speak about a bias which most of us may not even realize that it exists. Most of us see or feel it, but we fail to recognize it. Let us talk about gender biases in food practices by women themselves. Today we have with us Dr. Kanika Verma. We have been listening to her informative talks on this channel since a long time now. But this time, let us hear something from her which is very thought-provoking. Something which many of us may not have even realized. Welcome, Dr. Verma. Welcome to Let Us Talk.
Thank you. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much, Shubhi, for inviting me for another of your shows. And I'm very happy to be here, as always.
So our today's topic may not be clear to many of our viewers. Breaking the gender bias in food practices by women themselves. What bias are we going to talk about in today's talk? And what is it by women themselves? Can you just tell us something about the topic today?
So yes, Shubhi, it's something that we generally don't think about. But as I'm a nutritionist and I'm dealing with food and health all the time, this is something that I realized that even I am doing. So this is about bias that women have for themselves about their own diet and their own health. See, women in our country are idolized as the Annapurna and the Lakshmi of the family, right? एंड यू नो एक इंडियन वुमन का एक बड़ा पेट डायलॉग है, खाना खाया क्या, कुछ बना दो, तुम्हें क्या खाना है. यू नो their लाड प्यार is all revolving around providing food to their family. So women are generally see themselves as carers and nurturers and people who are looking after the other people, which is a very, very good quality, and it's an amazing quality in women. That is how families are being nurtured, and you know that is how the life is going on. But somewhere we are forgetting that we need to also take care of ourselves. You know, it's like going around with a discharged mobile. मोबाइल को आप जब तक चार्ज नहीं करेंगे, जब तक आप गाड़ी में पेट्रोल डालेंगे नहीं, how are you going to reach anywhere? So as a nutritionist, I realized that why is it that women are not taking care of themselves, and why is everything related to food and health only about their family members, their children, their partners, their parents, their in-laws, their relatives, even their friends? So this is something that I thought that when we are talking about breaking the bias, this is one bias that we women have to break ourselves. We have to stop looking at ourselves as people who are always sacrificing, doing for others. Yes, continue doing that, but also look after ourselves.
These are, I think, our self-created biases, and because we've been conditioned that way. And while most of us do take care of our diet, of our nutrition, but yes, that takes a back seat. It is always family first. We are taking care of others, and then we realize कि अच्छा हाँ चलो अब ये कर लो, ऐसे कर लो. So yes, it is a bias which exists and which most of us have not even realized till now.
It's a very natural instinct, and the natural instinct is sort of supplemented with the cultural and the social traditions, not only in our country but all over the world, because women are seen as the people who will be providing the food. I told you they are known as the Annapurna. it is the woman. It is the woman who will be remembering to give the medicines. It is the woman who will be remembering that we need to order food, we need to buy groceries, we need to get food prepared, storage of food, purchasing, even food choices that, what the family is going to eat.
आज खाने में क्या बनेगा, आज नाश्ते में क्या बनेगा,
is the perpetual question.
I know.
It is the perpetual thing that is always at the back of our mind, whether we are in a meeting,
yes,
or whether we are whether I'm teaching in a class. It's always at the back of the mind कि अच्छा आज शाम को ये कर लेंगे, and we are always doing about that. Yes, so that bias is there, so it has reasons why that bias is there.
So the topic of our today's talk is very unheard, at least for me. And I wanted to know what triggered you. आपने कहाँ ये biases देखे? You must have seen, felt, or maybe experienced that, got you thinking on this topic. So where do you think these biases start from?
See, at my workplace and in my family, I know of so many women who have always been telling me I couldn't have breakfast today, or my lunch was very late. I know I have a friend who is a professional, but she has her dinner at somewhere around 10:30, 11 after she finishes, after she feeds the children, after she winds up the kitchen. So this is where it set me thinking that why is it that even women who are educated, evolved, and who have supportive families, why is it that still they are not taking care, still they are not eating on time, still they are missing on a lot of self-care that they should have been doing it. So you see, a woman missing breakfast, a woman forgetting to, she just put something hurriedly in her tiffin box. It's a very common practice. Yeah. Even women who are not working, you will find that they are just not taking care of their meal timings as much as they are doing it for their family members. So why is it so? That is what triggered this entire thought process, because this is something, if we notice, everybody will find somebody around them who is, biased towards her own health and diet.
And like you said, remember when we were discussing also for this, it is such a common practice that, okay, aaj bachcho ka khana bahar hai, my husband is traveling, right, let me just make Maggie for myself. It is such a common thing. And when the entire family is eating, a Maggie will never be cooked. But if one of them is absent, or if you're eating alone, you have to prepare your own dinner, or only for yourself, it is a very common thing कि कुछ भी काम चलाओ बना लिया खा लिया, अच्छा वो बचा हुआ है left over है.
You are absolutely right. Yeah. This is the point that I really want to put across, that a woman deserves her own attention also as much as she is giving to others.
So where do you feel that women are neglecting themselves?
See, Shubhi, women are neglecting themselves in many areas, but being a nutritionist, I will only limit myself to their diet and health care. So today I would briefly like to talk about three main issues. First is not eating on time, which we were just mentioning about, and not eating right. See, when we talk about a healthy diet, we are also talking about meal timings. A woman gets up in the morning, hurriedly has a cup of tea. Most of the women are not even sipping their morning cup of tea at leisure, which they truly deserve. So meal timings and not eating right, they are missing breakfast. Because they miss breakfast, then they tend to have, they tend to snack something, then they tend to have a very heavy dinner or a heavy lunch, because you have to compensate somewhere. Because timings are not right, so they do not have time for their own activities like physical activity, going for a walk. So not eating on time and not eating right. When I say not eating right, I mean not eating healthy foods. So healthy foods, women especially, see, pregnancy is very well looked after in our families. Pregnancy is something which everybody knows. So but what about when a woman is about to face menopause, that is pre-menopause, during menopause, and after menopause? Because there are a lot of hormonal changes in the body, which means that every woman needs certain special nutrients to keep her healthy, like calcium and protein and vitamin D, and adequate amount of healthy foods which has fiber, which has less of sugar, less of fat. So the kind of diet that she is making for her family, women are mothers, and daughters-in-law and daughters and wives are very particular about what their family is eating. I have seen them, they will be cutting fruits for them, but are they doing it for themselves also? In the same amount of time, I have advised many women, eat what you're giving to your husband, right? Because आप अपने husband को बहुत अच्छे से खाना बना के पैक करके, in a nice tiffin, you are giving a little pickle, a little salad, one small sweet, nicely wrapped chapatis. Look at the woman's packed tiffin that she is carrying to work. Sometimes it is, just something put together just at the last minute, because she is not her priority herself. So this is one thing. Second is, I will ask all the men who are watching this video, do you know the favorite food of your mother or your wife or your daughter-in-law or the woman in your family? Because women are perpetually cooking favorite dishes of everybody in the family, and somewhere down the line they forget what is their own favorite dishes. They are not cooking for themselves. They are not cooking food for them, for food of choice for themselves.
Isn't this a new perspective which none of us never thought, never ever realized such biases do exist? Stay tuned for part 2 of this episode to know more such biases and how to deal with them. Thank you.